Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post. The states are rooting out DEI. Dozens of states are banning DEI in government and schools nationwide. It's not just about getting rid of it from the federal government and leverage applied to schools and colleges by the education department. This goes very far. From USA Today, root out DEI, why red states are enlisting in Trump's war on woke. And from ABC News, as Trump targets DEI, Republican-led states intensify efforts to stamp it out. A wave of legislation targeting diversity, equity, and inclusion is rolling through Republican-led state houses as lawmakers borrow a page from the Trump administration's anti-DEI playbook. And they need to do that because now is the time to get this out of our system, get it out of the culture, anywhere and everywhere. When he took office in January, West Virginia Governor Patrick Morrisey issued an executive order eliminating diversity, equity, and inclusion in state government. Last week, he signed a bill making that order the law in his state. Quote, "I pledge to root out DEI," Morrisey said at a ceremonial bill signing. Quote, "Now I can report to you that we are following through with that promise, and that's a wonderful reason to be here today. DEI is dead in the Mountain State." With President Trump leading the charge, diversity initiatives have emerged as a new front in the nation's culture wars. Now Republican-led states are joining the fight. While most anti-DEI bills target higher education, 25 states from Louisiana to South Carolina are considering 101 more new measures that would limit DEI in state and local governments and publicly funded institutions, according to Bill Kramer, Vice President and Counsel of State and Local Government Relations for Multi-State. In response, because there's nothing they can do in states they don't control, blue states are rolling out bills defending DEI. Quote, "I definitely think state lawmakers have been emboldened by the actions on the federal level," said Kramer, whose firm tracks legislation for hundreds of clients. So far in 2025, 9 states have enacted anti-DEI laws and 9 more have passed a bill through at least one chamber, which means it's on its way. Just this week, Iowa sent legislation barring DEI activities in offices to Republican Governor Kim Reynolds for her signature. The aim of state legislation mirrors the president's agenda to throttle DEI across the public sector and increase pressure on the private sector, because DEI has no place in the public sector or the private sector. In April, Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders signed a bill banning DEI offices, officers, policies, or practices in local governments. Quote, "Governor Sanders was proud to sign this legislation because government should be focused on serving the people and saving taxpayer dollars, not wasting time and money on woke nonsense," according to her spokesperson, who we'd have to agree with, Sam Dubke, who told this to USA Today in a statement. Last week, Indiana Governor Mike Braun, a Republican, signed an unlawful discrimination bill prohibiting public institutions from taking actions based on an individual's identity, such as race or religion. Braun signed an executive order in January banning DEI initiatives in state government. For years, diversity initiatives have come under fire in red states, either as DEI or critical race theory. In 2022, those terms appeared for the first time in bills introduced in 12 states, according to a USA Today analysis. Dozens of bills targeting universities and state governments drafted by anti-DEI think tanks and foundations are part of a broader backlash against the DEI initiatives embraced after George Floyd's death. Critics like Russell Vogt and Stephen Miller, both now Trump officials, assailed diversity targets and other DEI strategies and quotas as an illegal form of discrimination, which they are, that prioritize race and gender over individual merit. Which they do. President Trump seized on the wedge issue during his 2024 presidential campaign, vowing to defeat anti-white racism. Just hours after taking the oath of office on January 20th, Trump issued executive orders to dismantle DEI programs. Wade Miller, senior advisor for the Center for Renewing America, applauded states for lining up to help Trump. Quote, "We welcome all bills aimed at dismantling DEI," said Miller, speaking for the conservative think tank Vote founded in January 2021. The momentum of these bills in red states is unlikely to slow, according to Republican pollster Whit Ayers. Quote, "The top 4 reasons people voted for Trump were to bring down inflation, juice the economy, stop illegal immigration, and to get away from woke culture," said Ayers, president of North Star Opinion Research. Democrats warn the new wave of anti-DEI legislation could have sweeping implications for local and state government workers and the communities they serve. Here's what the Democrats think. Well, the best way to make sure that government is working for all versus just the few is to have people working in government who understand the experiences of the people that they're serving and who have the skills to be excellent in their jobs, said Eliza Layton, who advises for DEI as executive director of Deliver the American Dream, part of the American Pride Rises network. Quote, DEI work at the state level is ensuring those things. We could actually just have people that know what their responsibilities are and that actually do their responsibilities. And people can also communicate like with words or even write things down. When they deal with government people and they can say, look, I need this or I have that, we don't need common shared experiences based on skin color or even sexual preferences in government. We need people who are trained, who are capable, who are there based on merit. In Indiana, Senate Democrats condemned a new anti-DEI law as a step backward for diverse communities within the state who face discrimination. You've got to discriminate on our behalf. Don't make it equal and fair for everyone. Here's what they said. Quote, when we introduce legislation that claims we want everyone to be treated equally, I love that. I have yet to meet a person on this earth who said we should not treat people equally. Well, she should look into all the equity research and all the quotas that gets pushed by DEI and CRT and all that nonsense. And this was from Democrat State Senator Fatty Quadora. Quote, but what this legislation ignores is that people have different starting points in their lives. Oh, okay, well, we'll just create a customized system like artificial intelligence. We'll customize all the services of all the people we interact with based on what their starting point was in their life, and we'll also try to give them everything that everyone else had because that's equity. This is how they try to justify their state-sanctioned discrimination. It is completely unworkable and totally ridiculous. Last week, Tennessee Governor Bill Lee signed into law the Dismantling DEI Departments Act, banning DEI offices and departments in the Tennessee government. Also on the governor's desk is the Dismantle DEI Act. If signed, it would bar state and local governments, public colleges, and school systems from considering race, sex, or other demographic characteristics in employment decisions. Hopefully they've got the sexual preference thing covered because they put that in there too. On the House floor last month, Senate Majority Leader Jack Johnson, a Republican, and the state sponsor of both bills, said Tennessee is aligning itself with the priorities of the Trump administration. House sponsor Representative Aaron Mayberry said diversity will happen naturally through fair hiring practices. It is good for the states to align with the federal government. It gives momentum and legitimacy to everything that people are doing to try to turn back this tide of this nonsensical discrimination that's been poisoning the country through DEI and critical race theory and the rest of it. DEI isn't about giving unfair advantages because of gender or skin color, but making sure qualified applicants are not denied equal access to opportunities because of their identity, according to Tennessee State Minority Leader Ramush Akbari, who's upset about all this. Quote, it is unfortunate that diversity, equity, and inclusion has become this ugly political tool to divide people. According to Akbari, who said this on the House floor in April, quote, what diversity, equity, and inclusion principles do is that they make sure that folks who are different but who are equally qualified get a fair shake. Of course, in addition to racism, they have their own definition of qualified. When they say qualified, they don't mean qualified based on merit. They mean qualified based on the fact that they are human beings and they exist. Not that they can do the work just as well as anyone else. Not that they can even do the work at all, just that they are human beings and that they are alive. She said this, Tennessee deserves a government that reflects the people it serves, not one that turns back the clock on progress, she said. Does Tennessee deserve people who work for the government that know what they're doing and were hired based on their ability to actually do their jobs? Because that is pretty much what everyone deserves in the United States. State Senator Akbari, that's this lady, and State Senator London Lamar, that's this lady with the silly fringe orange pants, who also had this to say on another subject. Quote, I'm not nice, I'm mean. I'm sick of people acting player when they really green. A quote from apparently Megan Thee Stallion. But on this subject, Lamar said this, quote, as a black woman, a state senator, and someone who wears crazy orange pants, that was my introduction. She did not say anything about orange pants. She continued, and lifelong advocate for equity, because I need to get stuff because I can't earn stuff, I'm deeply disturbed by the Tennessee legislators' continued attacks on diversity, equity, and inclusion. She told this to USA Today. She continued, quote, these efforts aren't about fairness or accountability. They're about silencing progress and pushing marginalized voices out of spaces we fought hard to enter, but did not earn the right to enter. That's what merit's all about. Voicing his opposition to dismantling DEI Departments Act in March, Representative Larry Miller said this, quote, "I'm the product of DEI. Chances I would not be sitting here today if I were not. And what your bill is saying is, we want to dismantle and do away with that history. My personal history," Miller said. DEI helped build this country. No, merit built this country. DEI did nothing for this country except set an example of what not to do. Give everyone a chance and give some people charity, but don't turn the system upside down and give everyone charity and nobody competent a chance. In blue states, pro-DEI legislation is also on the rise. Of the 426 DEI bills tracked by American Pride Rises so far in 2025, 221 favor DEI and 205 oppose it. In April, Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs vetoed a bill from the Republican-controlled legislature that would have banned DEI hiring practices in state and local governments. Quote, "The state does not mandate any composition of its workforce and already has a merit-focused hiring system." I wonder if they have a merit-based hiring system. Probably not, or she would have said that. "In an effort to recruit the best possible talent into the ranks of public service," she wrote in a letter to the state Senate vetoing the bill. This week, Hobbs vetoed a second bill that would have wiped out DEI offices and activities in state agencies, colleges and universities, and local governments. Is a piece of legislation pro-DEI or anti-DEI? Sometimes it depends on who you ask. A bill in Michigan's House of Representatives that would require state agencies to hire employees based on objective factors such as relevant work experience and education was sponsored by pro-DEI Democrats, but appeared to have been originally crafted and introduced by Republicans in the previous term. While the term DEI does not appear in the bill that promotes merit-based hiring, House Republicans say the legislation would eliminate it. Quote, "Merit-based hiring and promotion is simple. You do a good job and you'll be rewarded. Why any other metric matters is a mystery," according to GOP Rep. Joseph Pavlov. Quote, "There's no place for DEI in our government. It is funny his last name is Pavlov, like Pavlov's dog, with all the rewards-based experiments. A coincidence? Yeah, I think so." According to Benjamin Rees, Pavlov's director of legislation, the Legislative Services Bureau made a clerical error and gave this bill to Representative Aaron Burns, a Democrat, who then sponsored it, receiving overwhelming Democrat co-sponsorship. Quote, "The representative is hopeful that his Democrat colleagues have seen that DEI doesn't help the people it aims at helping," Rees said. Burns told USA Today the bill gave her the opportunity to flip the script. Decreasing the influence of personal connections in the hiring process creates a more equal playing field for all workers, she said. Her bill sailed through the Michigan House of Representatives with near unanimous support. So the Democrats that got the bill didn't even read it. They just said, yeah, okay, great. As long as it's one of us, we can agree to that. We can sponsor it. Let's vote for it. Okay, well, you're going to have competent people. And Erin doesn't seem to want to admit that she didn't even look at the bill that she was sponsoring. This is one of the advantages, probably the one advantage of DEI. It was probably someone in the legislative office who was incompetent, who sent the bill to the wrong person, and the wrong person doesn't even read it, and all of her colleagues are also not making any effort. They also don't belong there, but they are there, so they sponsor it as well. They jump on board, and all of a sudden they're actually going to get good legislation just accidentally. Quote, House Republicans in Michigan voted yes on a DEI bill. I love that for them, Burns told USA Today. House Democrats know that merit-based hiring and diversity, equity, and inclusion practices are not mutually exclusive. No, they're just like literally the complete opposite of each other. She claims that's a false narrative that Republicans have been pushing for years now. Just because Republicans say something doesn't make it fact. It sounds like Erin is tremendously embarrassed up until the point where USA Today contacted her and said, hey, why did you push through a bill that was a Republican bill that got rid of DEI? She finally had to come up with something to explain it. Or maybe she is the beginning of a whole new Democrat focus on trying to get merit back into the hiring processes. Only one representative opposed the bill, and he's a Democrat. State Representative Dylan Wiegela also removed his name as a co-sponsor of the bill. Quote, I voted against the bill because it's an anti-DEI bill, Wiegela told USA Today. Well, at least the guy took the time to read the thing, or at least pay attention once the Republicans started mocking them. And from ABC News, as Trump targets DEI, Republican-led states intensify efforts to stamp it out. Except for in Michigan, where they do it accidentally. State efforts to stamp out diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives are accelerating during Donald Trump's second term. And we love to see it. Give everybody a chance. Let me know what you think of all this. I'm still laughing about the Democrats accidentally pushing through an anti-DEI bill. And this woman with the ridiculous orange pants. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another story. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.